Hi everyone. Question 18 says that as the cluster administrator with the username kubeadmin and password this perform the following operations. We have a note here. It says we should create two groups, front end group and back end group. We should create 6 users, technique 3 to technique 8 users. They must all have the password open. And we also have a note here. The users technique 5 and technique 6 must belong to the front end group and these users must belong to the back end group. We should create a project, open complete project. We should grant the user technique 4 project administration privileges on the open compute. We should give the group front end group with privileges and the group backend group write privileges for the Open Compute project. We should grant the user technically a cluster admin user. So this question is based on the OpenShift course on this website. If you've gone through my OpenShift course rather, solving this shouldn't be a problem. It's just ABC. So let's solve this question. As the cluster administrator with the username kubeadmin and password this perform the following operations. You can log in with these credentials. The first part of the question says that create two groups, front end group and back end group. The second part says create 6 users, technique 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. They must all have the password open. And there is a note here that says update the already existing htpassword authentication file in /tmp/htpassword to create the users. Also use a secret with the name htpassword-secret from /tmp/htpassword file. The third part says that the users technique 5 and technique 6 must belong to the front end group and the users technique 7 and technique 8 must belong to the back end group. So let's solve this question one after the other. The first thing we're going to do, of course, is to log into the cluster. So I can just say crc start so that I can get the credentials of this cluster that I am currently on. So I can say oc login with the user kubeadmin and the password going to be using this password. So it's waiting for the authentication into the cluster with the kubeadmin user. So now we're logged in. The first part says that we should create two groups, which are the front end group and the back end group. And to do that, I can simply use the command ocadm groups new front end group. So that group has been created. I'm also going to create for backend group. So to confirm, I can say get groups. So you can see that these two groups have been created. And the next thing I'm going to do is to create the users technique 3 to technique 8. And it already says that there is an already existing htpassword file, which so let's see that existing file. It says it's in /tmp/htpassword. So in this file, currently we have users technique 1 and technique 2, and the question says that we should create other users that's from technique 3 to technique 8. And to do that, of course, we're going to be using the htpassword2 because that's the identity provider. And here I'm going to be saying I'm going to be using the flag B because if I use flag C, it's going to overwrite all the files here. So I'm just going to stick with flag B, and I'm going to create the users in /tmp/password /htpassword and the user technique 3 with the with the open password. So it's going to be encrypted, and that's why we have this flag for encryption. And I'm also going to create for the user technique 4, for technique 5, for technique 6, for technique 7, and for technique 8. So you can use the for loop, but because this is an exam practice questions, if I were in the exam, really, I'm not going to use the for loop. I'm going to do it individually like this. But if I were in, in an environment, office environment, a development environment, I can use my for loop and check before I push it to the production environment. But for the exam, because I really want to be very careful, so I would just prefer, I'm talking about my own self, I would just prefer to do it one after the other like this. So if I confirm, I can say /tmp /ht password. So you can see now that we have those users being created as users technique 3 to technique 8. Next step I'm going to take is to create a secret for this file, for the ht password file. And to create a secret, I can use the YAML configuration, that's the YAML manifest file, or I can just use the CLI, that is the addoc. So I can say secret. In one of our courses, we used the YAML manifest file. So I'm going to say secret generic, which is also opaque if you're using the YAML manifest file. And the name of the secret, according to the question, it says it should be ht password -secret. That's the name of the secret. So we say secret generic ht password -secret from. Then whenever you're creating users, whenever you're creating secrets for users, you must make use of this ht password flag. It is very important. ht password /swd, it is a must, right? So let me show you a regular documentation that has said you must make use of this flag ht password. All right, so this ht password is from /tmp /ht password. Yeah, so this should be in the namespace OpenShift config. That's where secret like this lives, OpenShift config. So we're saying secret generic help. Let's look at the flag again. Secret generic ht password secret from file. So this is from file. So you can see that the secret is being created. So let me show you that file. You can see here that it's saying that secret generic. So you see here that the secret key containing the user file from file argument must be named ht password as shown in the above command. It must be named ht password. So this is very important. We can confirm that the secret has been created, so I can say get secret in the namespace OpenShift config. Yeah, I could have grepped for the secret, but it's fine. We can just see a list. So if you look at the list, you can see that we have the secret here, which is ht password secret, and it's been created. Like I said, it's an opaque type of secret. So the next thing we need to do is to update the OAuth server. The OAuth resource configuration file needs to be updated, and to do that we need to export the existing OAuth resource configuration file. So to extract the existing one, we can just say oc get OAuth. So the OAuth server lives in the OpenShift OpenShift authentication namespace. So I'll show you, of course, as we go on, you're going to see that. So once you get OAuth, so we want to extract this OAuth. Once you get OAuth cluster output, we want the output in YAML format, and I can extract to a file, say OAuth.yaml. It's taking time to do the extraction. Let's try this again. I guess the cluster is becoming unstable. So let's run this command again. Let's see if it's going to be extracted now. So it's been extracted. We can now edit the file with the htpassword file we've created. So we can say vi OAuth or the OAuth.yaml, and in the identity provider section here, which is the spec section, we would have to do some editing. And because I have this here, so it's going to be easy for me. I'm just going to copy this information here, and I can just paste it here. So it's going to be a list of items under the identity provider section, meaning that I also want to add a parameter for another identity provider. So the new parameter I'm adding for another new identity provider is also the HT password. So the HT password is still the identity provider, and it has to be exactly under this for indentation purposes. So because without correct indentation, it will not work. So you can see that I just copied what I have here and I pasted it here as a list of items under identity providers here. So here, the file data, under the file data, we need to put the name of the file data, and the name is going to be the name of the secret, because that's where we have the ht password file. We created a secret for that file. So here is going to be ht password dash secret, and the mapping method is claim, and the name, so then this is a name for the identity. So I can use any name for the identity provider. So let me just say all users. So let's use a name for all users. You can use any name, and the type, of course, is ht password. So this is fine. I can save this file. Oops. Let me be sure that I have the correct file here. Okay. So let me save this file. Right now, what we need to do is to update the OAuth file or OAuth object or resource, and to update it, we need to say OC replace. So we need to replace or update. So in fact, updating is replacing it. So OC replace the file in the OAuth, the file or the YAML. I mean, see now that it's been replaced. So the OAuth the OAuth authentication pod lives in the OpenShift authentication namespace. So let's just see that OC get pods. Let's just confirm namespace OpenShift authentication. I want to confirm that it's running. So you can see that it's running. The pod is running. So now we are done with our user creation and all the steps. So let's confirm that we've been able to create the users. So if I say also get users, okay, I'm not seeing those users now, and I think it's because I've not logged in for the first time. So we need to log in, we need to log in as those users for the first time before we can be able to see them when we run the command OC get users. Anyways, I'm also running also get identity, and I'm not still seeing anything here. The connection to the server, blah blah blah. Did you specify the right host? So I guess this is a cluster thing. All right, let's try and log in as one of the users so I can see OC login user. Let's say technique 4 password open. So the cluster is beginning to become unstable, and that's why I'm having this. So if I do CRC status, so that's one of the problems of CRC, especially when you're dealing with authentication processes. It just see you can see that it's unreachable. It just begins to do all of these, begins to throw all of these tantrums. So let's see CRC start again. Let me even try to log in as the Q admin user again, because I want to be very sure that the it's the cluster thing, that it's the cluster that is unstable. So you can see that the CRC is just sometimes a mess up. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is to stop this cluster and start it again. CRC stop. So I'm going to start the cluster again. So now let's try and log in again. So I'm going to say also login user technique 4. Alright, so you can see now that we've been able to successfully log in as the user technique 4, and of course we don't have any projects because we don't have access to any project, rather, because this user is not a cluster admin. So let's look at the next question. Question says that the users technique 5 and technique 6 must be